Chairman Durbin, Ranking Member Grassley, and the distinguished members of the panel, thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Zach Andersen. I'm a public safety officer with Cedar Falls, Iowa. I want to share with you today a recent experience that unfortunately is not dissimilar to too many of my brothers and sisters in law enforcement. On April 9th, 2021, I was working with my former agency as a sheriff's deputy in Grundy County, Iowa. My evening started off like normal with a few calls and traffic stops. I then stopped for dinner, and I heard a call come out that an officer was in a pursuit. That situation worsened as I learned the officer involved had been assaulted, and I quickly responded in that direction. The suspect fled to his residence in the city of Grundy Center, and was followed by a fellow deputy. I arrived on scene shortly after the suspect had barricaded himself in his residence. Many additional officers arrived on scene, and countless attempts were made at all entrances to call him out of his house, saying, "We don't want to hurt you, come out with your hands up." Unfortunately, all these attempts were met with no response. We did not know if the suspect was alive, awake, or okay. The responding agencies on scene met and formulated a plan of entry into the home. Leading that plan was Sergeant Jim Smith, a leader with the Iowa State Patrol Tactical Team. It was decided to first send a canine in to clear the basement of the residence. That was completed, and officers began knocking, announcing the impending entry of the canine to the main level of the home. The suspect ambushed us when the next door was opened. He was waiting for us with a shotgun. He fired 2 shots, striking and killing Sergeant Smith. The suspect retreated into his home. I remember shouts, "Jim, Jim," of Trooper Matt Lively calling out to provide care and remove him from the garage. 2 officers were trapped in the basement, and the subject began making threats to kill us all. "Come in and start shooting. I'll kill you like I killed your buddy." I was nice. I shot him in the chest, but come sunup, I won't be so nice. I'll shoot you in the face. The words I heard and the events I witnessed will be with me for the rest of my life. Not a day goes by that it doesn't cross my mind. Today I can tell you that I'm doing okay, but I know others are not. Actions need to be taken to protect those of us in this line of work. We need to have the right support and resources opposing to defund the police. The image of an officer has been tarnished in recent years. The rhetoric used by the media doesn't do us any favors with clickbait headlines of what an officer did or didn't do without painting the rest of the picture. We take an oath to do our best for the communities we protect. The men and women I have had the opportunity to work with stand behind the promise daily. The suspect in the tragedy I was involved in ramped up his hatred towards law enforcement, and it got much worse with the way of the world. And he had one goal that day, and he succeeded in achieving. I did question if I wanted to continue in this field as a direct result of this incident. Is it worth it? What is being done to support us after a major incident like this? We need to prioritize resources for officers, have people to talk to, debriefings, trainings. Not all officers will get the help they need. So there needs to be steps in place so that they don't fall through the cracks. I am grateful my wife encouraged me to talk, but not everyone has the same support or will open up to those closest to them. Events like this also take a toll on families, and they also need to be supported. My wife knew that night I was supposed to be home, but had been called into emergency. Being from a small community, the word travels fast, and she heard that an officer was shot and killed and had not heard from me. She knew where I was, but my GPS hadn't moved for hours. She sat a long time that night in the unknown. She's since struggled with survivor's guilt because she knows the relief of knowing that I was okay and coming home, and the harsh reality that that wasn't the case for another Iowa family. On April 9th, 2021, Kathy Smith lost her husband. Xander and Jocelyn lost their father, and a law enforcement family lost their brother. Sergeant Smith made an ultimate sacrifice, and from all that I have learned about him, that he was the leader he was, he wouldn't have had it any other way but to be sent in first to protect his men. I ask you today to lead like Jim by defending us, protecting us, caring for us, and validating the work we do as law enforcement officers. We talk about holding that line, the thin blue line, serving and protecting those in need. We need our families, our friends, and our communities, and our nation's leaders to have our backs as we fight to hold that line, because without that support, that line cannot be held. Thank you.